A bizarre update to a recent story involving PlayStation games traveling the multiverse. We got a quick update for that story. Then we take a look at the story of a young man who is out on a camping trip with his friends when he has a close encounter with alien life, something that so many people wait to see, wait to have that experience. But this man says, no, you don't want to meet them because they will destroy your life. Interesting. I love stories like that. And then finally, we take a look at the story of a family who's been living in their home for the past couple years, and there have been 0 occurrences of anything paranormal or bizarre. But when a mysterious black goo begins covering their house, they are forced to ask themselves the question, do we have a demonic entity living here? And how long will it be before he takes our souls? Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So first off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command, returning from yesterday's episode. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for one of our newest Patreon supporters, James Ashby. Woohoo, yeah, wee! He's running on and he's all covered in black goo. He's spreading it everywhere. Bro, I just cleaned this place. That's a lie, I didn't. But now he has to because there's black goo everywhere and that's his fault. James is supporting the Patreon. That is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially, I totally understand. I really do. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. James, let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the Dead Rabbit Dirigible. Everyone climb on board this big, beautiful blimp as James glides us out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command all the way out to Maryland. Nice leisurely blimp ride all the way out to Maryland. Now, before we get to that story, I want to give you guys an update. We recently did the story about how PlayStation games have been mysteriously appearing in various locations. Everybody loses items. Sure, that's not paranormal, but when a PlayStation game appears somewhere where it shouldn't be, i.e. an abandoned barn, that was one of the examples we used, something's up. This old abandoned barn had a brand new copy of Final Fantasy VIII back in the year 1999. One of the other examples was a guy went to his car. This was in Seattle, Washington. He got in his car one night. When he turned it on, the electrical system was acting funky. And then a disc popped out of his CD player. And after that, the electrical system started working again. But he's like, what? He goes, I don't even have a CD in there. I never used the CD player. So he reaches in and he pulls out the disc that came out of the CD player. It was Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. He goes, I don't have a PlayStation 4. Now, I wouldn't put it in here even if I did, and I've never put a disc in there. So how did Borderlands 2 get into my CD player in my car? Well, he says that he still has it. He took it home because it's just a weird artifact. I did that episode, and when the episode came out, one of you guys, one of the listeners, Spot the Spy, said, not to split hairs, but Borderlands 2 never came out for the PlayStation 4. Well, it did, but not as a physical release. And I looked it up. And he's right. You had Borderlands 2 for the PS3, and for the PS4 you had the Borderlands Collection, which does include Borderlands 2, but the disc on it says Borderlands Collection. Now, what's interesting about that, and this is what I told Spot the Spy, I go, that could make the story 10 times weirder, honestly. There's a couple things that are going on. Either the guy who posted the story about finding the Borderlands 2 in his CD player got the system wrong. It was actually for the PS3 instead of the PS4. It's a possibility. it's a possibility that the disc actually on it said Borderlands Collection, and he just assumed it was Borderlands 2. So I messaged the guy. I messaged the guy who posted the story, and I haven't heard back yet, but I asked him if he had a photo of that disc, because here's the thing. If he's telling the truth, it's not for the PS3. It doesn't say Borderland Collection on it. If he has a physical disc that says Borderlands 2 for the PS4, that disc is not from this timeline. That disc was never manufactured. That disc should not exist. So it's a way more wild story. And I didn't tell him any of that stuff. I didn't say, hey, I got this podcast, we're covering this story. Nothing. I just said, hey, I saw that post. I was wondering if you had a photo of that disc. Because if it is Borderlands 2 for the PS4, that would be proof that it's from another reality. And I'll keep you guys updated. He may go, I was just making a story up. That was some writer's prompt. Or, oh, yeah, I looked at it again. You're right. It is Borderlands 3 or whatever. Or he sends over the picture and I can see it's the Borderlands 3 disc. I'll let you guys know what's going on, but that's really cool. Spot the Spy, thanks for pointing that out, because that could be a huge difference in the narrative. The idea was, and I think I jokingly said about discs coming from other... and in that episode, I think I said, are these discs coming from alternate realities, or are they actually just... If a disc is appearing in a barn, here, you assume that someone else is missing their brand new copy of Final Fantasy VIII. Someone's like, what? Where did I put that? Where did it go? But if it's actually coming from an alternate dimension, wow, could you imagine proof of different timelines, different realities affecting our own because of a authentic Borderlands 2 disc for the PS4, which shouldn't exist? I'm really excited about this. Spot the Spy, thanks for sending that info over. Really, really appreciate it. And I'll let you guys know if I ever hear back from him and what he says. Okay, James is flying their dirigible. We're headed out to Maryland. Specifically, we're in Western Maryland. Weren't we in Maryland early? Oh yeah, the mining story. I was trying to figure out what type of mines they would have in Maryland. Rock mines? I've never heard of Maryland having a booming economy. It was just like a colony for a while, and all the other colonies were super hardworking, and Maryland's like, can I be part of it? New York's like, yeah, I guess. And South Carolina's like, probably we should let this guy in here. I feel bad for him. He doesn't have any mines. He has like trees and stuff, but we all have trees. Maryland, yeah, you know what? We'll let you in. You'll be the most special colony of all. Maryland's like, yay. I don't know. Maryland probably, I don't know. I figure it's just they were there and they needed lucky number 13. They had to have 13 colonies to match the 13 families that rule the world, so they had to include Maryland. Anyways, this story takes place in Western Maryland. The year is 2009, 2006, somewhere around there. We're about to meet a man. We don't have his real name. We're going to call him Dan. Dan the man. Everybody loves Dan. He's a good guy, has a lot of friends. And on this particular night, him and his friends decide to go camping in the forest. They're out there roasting weenies, making s'mores, enjoying the Maryland night sky. Stars twinkling down at him. He sees one of them wink at him. Ding. Such a cool guy, Dan. Dan's like, I probably shouldn't have eaten all those magic mushrooms on the trip up here. I'm tripping out. Having a good time with his buddies on a camping trip. It's not my jam. I think it's absolutely terrifying to be in the middle of the woods. If I'm going to eat a weenie, put it in a bun, have it given to me out of a cart on a street corner or a 7-Eleven. I don't need to be holding it over a fire. But he's out with his friends. They're loving life. When all of a sudden, the whole group of them see this bright light begin to streak across the night sky. Now, it's not super high in the stratosphere. It's not like they're seeing a satellite. It's also not low enough that they can actually tell what it is. They just see this light flying over the area, but then they see it start to descend. And this light seems to have landed on a nearby hill. Okay, so I mean, here's the thing. Is it a helicopter? Is it an army helicopter, civilian helicopter? A plane probably couldn't land on a hill, at least not safely. Or is it a UFO? And they're out there. I mean, this really is the subject of conversation. Nobody went back to, so who's ready to go to work on Monday? You know, you're like, what was that? Wow, that was crazy. And it landed just over there. And for 20 minutes, they're kind of talking about this until finally Dan goes, you know what? It's in walking distance. Like, I'm going to go see it. Does anyone else want to come with me? Anyone else want to go? And his friends all look at him and they go, no, Dan. I mean, yeah, listen, the mysterious and the paranormal are fun when you're watching X-Files. But you're talking about marching through the woods towards a light that, if it's a military helicopter or police helicopter or whatever, you're going to get yelled at. That would ruin our night. We're like, oh, boo, authority figures hate us. They made us go back to the campsite. They didn't want our weenies. But if it's a UFO, bro, you're going to be walking through the woods in the dark to find what? Space monsters? Like, again, maybe they'll be cool. Maybe they'll give you pancakes, a nice fresh scoop of strawberry ice cream. But no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And Dan is like, oh, I'm going to go do it. What an adventure of a lifetime, dude. Would you do it? Dan is like, I gotta go check this thing. It's going to bug me if I don't. I gotta go find out what that was. So he begins to walk through the forest all alone. He's getting closer and closer to the hill. Then he starts walking up the hill. And this is where the rest of the walk was totally fine. Walk through the dark, flashlight, not a big deal. I think it's terrifying, but it's nothing to this guy. He camps. I don't. He didn't have a problem walking through the woods. He wasn't scared then. But as he's walking up the hill, he starts to feel this strange sensation all over his body. He said, I felt like the best thing he could compare it to was I felt like my body was being artificially frozen. And he goes, it made me feel like a deer stuck in the headlights. Like it can't move out of the way. It can't move from unavoidable danger. And that's what he felt like right now, walking up that hill. Dan's just standing there. He can't walk any farther. He's standing there and he hears the sounds coming from all around him in the dark woods. He hears the sounds of little footsteps. Jason, are you not wearing pants again? That sounds like you're slapping your legs. That sounds like bare flesh being struck with bare palm. I'm wearing boxer shorts, okay? It's a little hot in here, but you're right. It didn't sound like that to him. He's like, what? Are pigs wrestling? What's that weird slapping sound? Is there a fight between penguins? He's hearing the sounds. It's supposed to be little feet walking through the woods. Like that. He hears them all around him. He is trying to figure out, at this point, right? He's like, oh man, I probably should have listened to my friends. But what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm stuck. He says that it sounded like whatever was out in the woods, there was 2, maybe 3 of them making this walking noise around him. And he goes, they weren't stomping through the woods. It didn't sound the way that a person sounds when they're walking through the woods. It's a KMFDM song. He's all working out. The aliens are getting closer to him. Because that's what there are, obviously. They're aliens. And he's all, KMFDM, these guys are fantastic. No, he's actually the exact opposite. He's terrified beyond all reason. He hears 2 or 3 small-footed beings walking in the woods. He can't see them. And they're getting closer to him. He's standing there, looking around. He can't see anything. And then all of a sudden, he sees, standing there, a gray alien. It was like snuck up on him and got right in front of him. And then he completely loses consciousness. He ended up making his way back to camp. And what's interesting is he said, I did not suffer any lost time. It's not like he wandered back to camp and he thought he'd only been gone for 5 minutes, but he'd really been gone for 4 hours. The fire has died out. His friends are asleep. They don't even have a search party for him. They're like, Dan's probably been eaten by aliens at this point. Let's all call it a night. No, he goes, no time was lost. He goes, all of a sudden, my whole mind went blank. And that gray alien just did a jump scare right in front of me. I lost consciousness. I wake up and I walk back to the camp, and no time was lost at all. He says he goes, I'll just read the quote. He said, quote, "It's like I was plucked from local space-time and reinserted," unquote. So they took him, they did whatever experiments on him that they were going to do, and it may have taken 4, 5, 6 hours, and they end up placing him back at the exact moment they took him. So he experiences no lost time. And when he gets back to camp, no one's like, oh my God, we called the National Guard, we called the National Forest Service. That's who we were supposed to call. Their search party's looking for you. He thought he was only gone for 5 minutes, he was gone for 8 hours. No. As far as his friends were concerned, he walked out a normal length of time to the hill and then walked back a normal length of time back to camp. But he says it felt like I was taken out of the space-time continuum and then placed back just in that moment. I don't know how long these aliens had me for. Interesting story, but we're not done. Because, like I said in the intro, that story, there are many a UFO aficionados, people who love stories of alien contact, who would kill to have a visitation like that, even if they didn't remember it. But this experience ruined Dan's life. He says, now, it's interesting, right? Because you're like, well, what about it? It wasn't that scary. He was just kidnapped by 2 or 3 alien visitors from another world. Did involve a jump scare. That's pretty cool. I mean, as far as alien encounters go, these guys made it a little theatric. They're all walking through the woods. Ring around the rose. He's making it extra spooky. There's an owl sitting on the tree. Whoo, whoo. These aliens had a flair for the dramatic. Dan doesn't know what happened. And it sounds like he doesn't want to know. He's not talking about doing aggressive hypnotherapy or anything like that. He said that after this event, quote, I'll just read you the quote because he's pretty vague, but maybe we can parse it out. He goes, quote, "Some other very unpleasant things happened after that, which almost led me to suicide." And when I read that part, I go, well, it could have been this happened, and then his girlfriend dumped him because he wouldn't stop freaking out every time a kid walked by. He's like, ah. They're like, Dan, we're at a playground. We're at a playground. He's like, oh no, I hear little footsteps everywhere. Did his girlfriend break up with him? Did he lose his job? I was reading that, and I go, well, maybe it's like life events. But let's continue this quote. Quote, "Some other very unpleasant things happened after that, which almost led me to suicide. I can honestly say it was the worst thing that has ever happened to me, and a day doesn't go by where I don't think about that night." Unquote. So, I think the other unpleasant things were alien-related. Wasn't that his girl? I mean, maybe his girlfriend cheated on him with a 7-foot-tall reptilian. They are pretty well endowed, I hear. I have not checked myself. I've just heard that the male reptilians, they're packing a laser rifle down there. The female ones are pretty sexy. But anyways, I'm not messing with the male ones. Those female ones, though. Other alien, I'm really reading that as other events related to this. Other unpleasant things have happened that have led me to suicide because not a day goes by where I don't think about that night. It was the worst thing that ever happened to him, was walking through the woods to see what that light was, and his psyche has now been destroyed. His account is deleted. There's no way we can follow up on this. It's possible, unfortunately, because the story, he posted this back in 2012. He posted this 13 years ago. It's possible that he's killed himself by now. I hope not. I'm not saying that would be a good end to the story. It'd be the worst end to the story. It's just very, very interesting. I feel real bad for this guy. He went on a journey that so many of us would go on. I probably want to walk through the woods. I don't like the woods, but if it was like in the suburbs, I saw a UFO land somewhere outside of Hood River, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just walk by houses. I probably would check it out. I almost 100% would check it out. I think a lot of us would, because we're like, dude, let's go see what's over there. Never in my... I mean, listen, I know that they might take me up to board the ship and take all my semen out and use it to... Sitting there, I was like, I can help you guys if you got any reptilian women around here. Great aliens are all, what? They're like, well, you should be paralyzed. I'm all taking my clothes off myself. It's like, oh no, put away that laser scalpel. I can undress myself now. Where are the reptilian sex babes? They're like, well, okay. I mean, I guess you're going to save us some time. All my friends, they're all strapped down. They're all, no, the semen's getting sucked out by a teleporter. I was like, oh, you guys always into technology. I'm going to do it the old fashioned way. We all would do this. I think a lot of us would do this, at least. Maybe not all of us, but this is sometimes the result, though. And it makes sense. Just the medical experimentation alone is worse than anything humans can do to each other in our darkest moments in history. I'm actually surprised we don't have more stories like this. We've covered a few. I'll see if I can find some in the show notes, but this might be the most drastic one that comes to mind, where he's like, I almost killed myself because it was that traumatic. Other things happened, but there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about that. There's not a day that goes by where I don't regret leaving the safety of my friends, leaving the warmth of the campsite, and walking out into the forest. There's not a day that goes by that I don't regret looking for that UFO. Crazy story. Sad story, right? I hope he's all right. I really do. James, let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the world-famous Carpenter Copter. We are leaving behind Western Maryland. Why don't you fly us all the way out to an apartment complex? We're flying all the way out to this apartment complex. We don't have an exact location. We don't have the exact names, but this is a very, very recent story. It started just back in August of 2024. We're going to take a look at the story of this family. We're going to call the husband Jerry. He's the one who's telling this story. His wife we'll call Amanda. They have a 7-year-old son we'll name Paul. And they have a cat who we will call Goober. They don't actually have a name for the cat either. They have a name for the cat. They just didn't tell us what it was. Jerry, he says, listen, I've lived in houses that were haunted before, or houses that had some sort of paranormal activity. He goes, in fact, there's been at least 3 houses since I was a kid that I've moved into, where there's been something off about it. But nothing ever to this level. In fact, this house that they're in right now, they've been living there since 2023. And there was no problems whatsoever. It wasn't until, I think it was like early 2023, it wasn't until August of 2024 when this family started to experience these bizarre events. In Jerry's mind, it started one night when he was sitting in his desk. So in the bedroom that he shares with his wife, there's a desk, and that is where Jerry plays his video games. And one night he's sitting there, he's playing his video games. He doesn't say what video game. Beam, NG, maybe. Flight Simulator, first-person shooter. I don't know. Minecraft, my favorite game. Playing a video game, not really. Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. He doesn't really say what video game it is. I assume he's a PC gamer. He's sitting there and he's playing video games when his wife Amanda walks in and she gets something from the closet. He looks over and she's getting something from the closet. This is pretty normal. She gets something from the closet, she closes the closet door, and then she gets into bed. She's laying down on the bed and Jerry's just sitting there continuing to play a video game. Jerry probably starts to feel really bad that he's playing a video game. Maybe I should do some chores. Maybe I should not show that I'm a super elite gamer. Fine. So he pauses the game. It's multiplayer. They're like, Jerry, we need you to set off that C4. He's all walking away. No, we lost the championship. Jerry gets up and he starts to pick up clothes off of the floor. And he's getting a basket ready to do wash. And he asks Amanda, he goes, hey, do you need any of the clothes over by your desk to be washed? And she goes, everything on my desk is clean. He goes, okay. So he gets the clothes up off the ground and he gets his clothes, gets the laundry basket together, and he turns around before he leaves the room. Amanda isn't in bed anymore. And he goes, it's weird. Did she sneak out while I was... whatever. I mean, I'll take this laundry downstairs. Weird, but not unusual. It would be weird depending on how sneaky she was. If she was constantly sneaking up, jump scaring you, wouldn't it be super bizarre? But he does go, that's weird. He gets the laundry. He goes in the living room, and sitting in the living room is Amanda. And he goes, hey, did you just come into the bedroom? And she's like, yeah, I went to the bedroom, I got something out of the closet, and then I came out here and gave Goober some cat food. Why? What's going on? And he is thinking, wait a second, no, I talked to you. You were laying in bed, and I asked you if you needed your clothes washed. You said everything on my desk is clean. A haunting? Would that really be classified as a ghost if it's someone you know who is still alive? A mimic? It's very rare when, we have the stories from time to time, but it's very rare when a mimic speaks. Usually you just see a doppelganger. You see a double of somebody else. But it's not unheard of. We have, no pun intended, we have heard stories where mimics do speak. But it is odd, and Jerry obviously goes, that's not a good sign, right? That's not a good sign. I've lived in some houses that were haunted, but not impersonating people in the house, not impersonating my wife. That was really the beginning. What started to happen was, from there, they began to see shadow people in the house. One point, Amanda and Jerry were laying in bed facing each other. Amanda was faced the way that she could see the bedroom door, and she saw a shadow man peeking around the corner. And once she saw it, and it realized that Amanda could see it, it slowly pulled its head back. The shadow man was also seen in the kitchen. At this point, Amanda's getting really, really upset. Jerry's like, listen, man, this is just house number 4 for me. A lot of paranormal badges on my chest. No, he's actually concerned as well. He's not blowing this off. But what are you going to do? They've been in the house for a couple years. They've had no problem. Why is this starting now? They also start to notice things go missing and then reappearing in other places. And the interesting thing about that is you go, wait a second, don't they have a 7-year-old son? Don't they have a little guy living in the house? And they do. They have 7-year-old Paul. But that's why when they say an item goes missing, it will appear in a place that he doesn't have access to. For example, their iron went missing. That was actually found on the closet floor. And they usually kept it really high up in the closet, not a place that Paul could get it. You go, maybe it just fell. Well, that's interesting that you say that, because they do have a issue with things falling in odd places. For example, there's something called a Nido ice cube. I guess it's like those big jelly-like, I don't know if it's a fidget or if it's just something to chuck at your older brother. I don't know what the purpose of it is, but it's this kind of big, heavy gelatin cube toy. And they said one night they heard a loud thud, and when they went to investigate the noise, they found that Nido cube, which is usually on the dresser, was now pushed against the bedroom door of their son's bedroom. So it's like when they went to open it, they felt a bit of resistance, and it's not like it weighs 1,000 tons, but you just felt more resistance than you would expect. This Nido cube fell off the dresser in front of the door, and they go, we don't know how that could have happened, because they started testing it. They go, okay, so we're going to push the Nido cube off of the dresser. They're really hoping they can figure this out. That's really what's it's at. And I understand that if you can explain it away, you go, well, maybe it's not as scary as we think it is. The whole time, Amanda's like, well, can you explain away the shadow people? He goes, let's try this experiment first. I'll disprove the shadow people later. His eyes go from side to side. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to do that one. They start pushing the Nido ice cube off of the dresser and see how far they can get it to fly. Can they get it from the dresser to in front of the bedroom door? And they go, it's too heavy. They go, we would slap it off and it would, because it's so heavy, it would just fall just a few inches from the dresser. And even when we were knocking it off with force, it's not like they were taking a baseball bat to it. Paul's all crying. He's like, my bedroom. There's holes on all the walls. They're like, sorry about your window. They're knocking the ice cube off and they go, not only could we not get it to fly far enough to block the door, We also could not get it to replicate the volume of the sound we heard. We heard a loud thud. That's why we went to check it out. They go, it would fall because the bedroom's carpeted. It would fall on the carpet. It would make a noise. But it wouldn't be one that was so alarming you'd be like, honey, we got to go figure out what that loud thud was. It's stuff that they own being found in weird places, but what starts to happen is the marble. One night, Jerry and Amanda are asleep in their bed when they hear a loud noise, and it's loud enough to wake them both up. The noise they hear is a loud metallic noise. That is how he describes it. And when he gets up to investigate what made the noise, what he finds over by his desk on the floor is a marble. He's like, what? He's looking at it. He doesn't know how it got there. He doesn't own a marble. I'm sure somewhere in the house that you have a 7-year-old boy, he might have marbles, but he's never seen this marble before. He's just like, you know, it's the middle of the night. I do not have time for this. I'll figure it out tomorrow. And the same day, I finally, once and for all, disprove the Shadow Man. Amanda goes back to sleep because he's like, it's a marble. She goes, a marble? He goes, yeah, it's a marble. And she's like, I'm going to sleep. It's late, not a little goblin? No, I don't think it's a goblin egg. She falls back asleep. He goes to the bathroom. When he comes back from the bathroom, he walks over to his side of the bed. He looks. The marble is on his pillow. He doesn't think his wife is doing this because she's so terrified by what's going on. She wouldn't make a prank about it. Plus, the initial noise would be kind of funny, actually, if the mom and the son had said, you know what, let's drive dad insane. He has a pretty good life insurance policy. Maybe we can make him go crazy. Do we get life insurance if he's in an insane asylum? He comes over. He doesn't think his wife put it there. He looks at the marble on his pillow. He's like, whatever. He picks the marble up. He throws it out the window. A night or two later, Jerry is sitting at his desk doing work or playing video games. Probably playing video games. He gets up. He leaves. His wife comes over to the desk, sits down. She goes, hey, honey, I thought you said you threw this out. He comes back into the room. On his desk is that same marble. While all of this is going on, there's been multiple instances of him seeing Amanda walk around the house and go into rooms that she's not in. He's continuing to see a doppelganger of his wife moving around the house. He also has this, we covered something like this recently. It would honestly be the most irritating. I would hate it out of all ghost activity outside of demonic possession. It would be my least favorite. Jerry says, this has happened multiple times, I will be in the bathroom. I will be pooping. And someone or something will stand outside and just continuously knock on the bathroom door. I open it up. There's nobody there, right? The first 1 or 2 times you're like, honey, I'm pinching off a loaf. Can you wait? Knock, 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 knock. Trust me, you do not want to come in here right now. We had Taco Bell, remember? I'm eating more Taco Bell right now. Nom, nom, nom. Knock, knock, knock. Fine. I don't know what you want, but you will know whatever you want. You will no longer want it once you catch a whiff. He opens the door. There's nobody there. This goes on and on. It happens so many times that he goes, now I just poop with the door open. Sorry. Sorry, the rest of the house. I'm sorry, the potted plants. I'm sorry, Goober. You guys just got to smell what Daddy's cooking. He's like, I just got tired of going to the bathroom. And that would irritate me more than anything, honestly. I'm on my phone trying to read, man. I'm trying to look for stories to cover on my podcast. Knock, 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 knock. But this all really becomes, like, all of that stuff, right? Super obnoxious haunting. Shadow people, mimics, doppelgangers. That's pretty high-level stuff, honestly. Items appearing and then disappearing, quite odd. We do see that in haunting stories. The marble appearing and disappearing almost seems taunting at this point. But really all of this comes down to the reason why Jerry is really, really concerned about this is because of the black goo. He says, I can live in a haunted house. I've done it before. But we're starting to find this mysterious black liquid. And when I think of a black goo, this black fluid, I can only think of it being malignant. I feel that there's something in my house that is way more powerful and way more malevolent than we originally anticipated. He says you'll just find, and he posted photos of it. He posted photos, it was the bottom of his laptop that had this black goo on it. He goes, but here's the thing, I don't know where it's coming from. He goes, it's not like it's dripping from the ceiling. It's not like it's coming from any origin that we can think of. You go, well, were you changing the oil in your car and didn't wash your hands? He goes, this substance has no odor. It will appear in all sorts of places around the house, but it does seem to be centered around where Jerry is at. For example, they're finding this weird oily substance, and oily is probably the wrong word, it's just this black goo they're finding. He goes, this all started, one day I went to my desk and I noticed there was a paper towel on my desk, and it was covered in these black stains. And he's like, what? He goes, it looked like someone spilled black goo, which, first off, where's the black goo coming from? But this is his very first experience with it. He goes, it looks like someone spilled some sort of black liquid on my desk and then tried to clean it up with a paper towel and then just stopped halfway through. And now there is this paper towel with this black goo on it. And he goes, hey, Amanda, listen, I know there's a lot of funky stuff going on, but have you been spilling black liquid and then trying to clean it up and then stopping halfway through? She goes, no, why? And he's like, don't come in here. Don't come in here. Let me try to figure this out. He has this paper towel with these streaks of this black goo. Now he goes, listen, we don't have anything in our house that would make these type of stains. I don't know how this paper towel got here. I didn't put it here. I don't have the black goo on it. But he is thinking this has to be paranormal at this point. He's not taking any chances. So he goes, you know what? I'm going to burn this paper towel. I'm just going to burn it. It's covered in this black goo. I don't know what it is. Hope it's not toxic as smoke comes out. It's like the ending of Trilogy of Terror, the most terrifying thing ever broadcast on television. He takes a paper towel, he goes into the kitchen, he lights the paper towel on fire in the kitchen sink. Whatever, right? He's probably not like whatever. He's probably deeply concerned. Oh no, what's going to happen with this? He then walks back up to his bedroom, and that is when he notices on his desk, he didn't see this before, but on his desk now there are these black drips of this substance. As if when he went down there, it continued to drip. And he's looking up. He goes, it's not coming out of my ceiling. It's not coming out of my laptop. I hope not. Well, he does start to look at his computer, and sure enough, on the monitor, there's this black liquid. He's like, damn it. Damn it. Is the warranty? Is this covered? Best Buy's extended service plan? Do they cover paranormal ooze? He says he can clean it off. And now that this is fresh, the stuff on the original paper towel was just like a stain. He goes, I'm cleaning off, and it did kind of have a stickiness to it. But, whatever. Dude, he's like, I'm cleaning it up. I don't know what's causing this. I hope there's something wrong with our pipes. I hope there's a black mold infestation, and that's what this is. Not some sort of demon from beyond. A day or two after that, Jerry's at home with his son. They're watching television, and they go, okay, Paul, let's get in the car. It's time to go pick up Mom from work. Yay! Can Goober come? Yeah, you know what? Maybe Goober should come. Hopefully he doesn't get possessed by the shadow man who imitates your mother. Paul's like, what? What? He doesn't know about any of this stuff. He's drinking a big cup of orange juice, but there's a little black goo at the bottom. No, don't drink the orange juice. Don't drink the orange juice. You have enough vitamin C. Son, let's just get Goober and go. They don't actually take the cat, but anyways, Paul, I don't think is aware of any of this. It's funny because Paul might actually be experiencing his own phenomenon and he's not telling his parents, but we just have Jerry's point of view. Jerry and Paul go to pick up Mom. They're watching television. Time to go pick up Mom from work. They drive out. Jerry said, when we get back home, we're putting the groceries away. We're getting ready for dinner. I walk out to the living room where the television is. There's 2 drips of black goo directly on the television screen. And he goes, it was just like when it was on my laptop. I had these drops on the screen. Now I have these 2 drops on my television screen. He goes, it looked like it was the exact same thing. He says, I cleaned them off. The goo comes off pretty quickly. They had no odor. I have no idea where it came from. At first, you could figure it was upstairs. At first, you could even go, maybe the mom is pranking him. Maybe the mom's insane. Maybe Paul has something to do with this. Maybe Paul's insane. But at this point, they'd been watching television all day. The only two people home, Jerry and Paul, left when they came back. Sure, they did put groceries away, and that might have time. Paul's really Dennis the Menace in real life. He switched personalities from a different version of Paul in the universe. He's carrying around a bottle of ink. You think that anything that Paul would have access to, Jerry would be able to figure out what it was. If a kid could have access to a substance, it wouldn't be so unexplainable or alien. You'd be able to go, oh, that looks like black ink from a fountain pen, like an old-timey feather pen even. But this is going on. This is escalating. He's getting really, really concerned because the black ooze does make you think this is something evil. Truly evil. It's almost so evil it can't contain it. Its presence in the house is inflicting physical changes on the environment. The only thing that would be more concerning than black ooze appearing around your house would be human blood. Like if you went to sit down and you saw human blood on your computer, you're like, what? That would be concerning. Or semen would also probably rank up in the top 3. I didn't think about that. If you went, you're like, oh man, I got the groceries put away. Now it's time to sit down and watch television. And you turned on your TV and you saw 2 long streaks of human semen dripping down the television screen. I mean, think about it. That'd be scarier than blood. You see a reflection of someone sneaking up behind you. Ah! Jump scare. That actually is the scariest thing. If you went to sit at your desk to play Modern Warfare, whatever number they're on, you got your laptop ready, your gaming PC, and you touch the mouse, go to click that button, and there's a bit of a stickiness to it, and you look and there's human semen all over your mouse. I mean, like, at that point, you're just gonna burn the house down, right? You know it's not a burglar if it's like a sex demon who's ejaculating everywhere. It doesn't have to be a demon. If it was just a regular man. If it was a businessman who had this weird fetish, he goes to your house, he ejaculates on stuff, then he leaves. That would be way worse than blood. That would be 100 times worse than blood now that I think about it. You're like, I don't know. Hey, honey, why don't you get into bed first? Those sheets look sticky. It's like saran wrap around melted cheese. You're like, yeah, honey, why don't you try that first? She keeps getting pregnant all the time. She's constantly pregnant. You're like, honey, don't sit on the couch. Don't sit on the couch. We can't afford another kid. All of this black goo stuff keeps going on. He ended up posting this story in January of 2025. He posted it underneath the username chef115935. And he goes, listen, I just don't even know what to do at this point. This morning, I was getting ready for work, and my wallet was sitting on a pile of paperwork, like a pile of papers on my desk. I picked my wallet up, and I see on the paper that it was sitting on top of, I see black goo. I see this stupid black goo that's been haunting us. And then I turn and I look at my wallet, and sure enough, my wallet has black goo on it. He said, I wasn't even fooling around with this. He goes, I took all of the stuff out of the wallet and I threw the wallet in the trash. I'm not even playing with this stuff anymore. It's funny, I don't have a lot of time left to commentate on this story, but I don't think it needs much commentary. I think it's pretty straightforward. This family has a serious problem. I think his read on it is right. I think the fact that you have the black goo, it does signify something terrible. I'm not saying it would be any better if it was a white sticky goo, but we went into that subject already. I don't think it would be better, but when you think of like black goo, I mean, I can't think off the top of my head of a black goo that is good. Maybe if you really loved black licorice and you lived in the desert and you liked it melted, maybe. But that's it. I mean, out of all the different types of black goo on the planet and through the multiverse, any sort of black goo coming from hell, it's generally regarded as bad. I think his instincts are right on that. Whatever here is definitely malignant. I also find this story interesting Because this is something we see in so many classic ghost stories and demon stories. The ramp up. I mean, remember how this all started? I mean, what's funny is it actually did start off with quite a bang. The first time he noticed something was something impersonating his wife and having a conversation with him. However short, it was only a sentence long on her part, or its part. That's already pretty high-level paranormal activity. Being able to take the form of a living person and speak? I mean, that's how the story started. So it was already pretty intense from the get-go, but then you also have the shadow people watching them, the knocking on the bathroom door, the items being moved around, knocked around, and now this black goo being left everywhere, and the marble too. Everything just seems pretty taunting in nature, and the thing with the ramp up is it's going to keep ramping up. It's going to reach an end point at some point, and the question is this story going to end with them moving away? Are they going to just leave the house? They've been there for a while. Are they going to leave? That would possibly end the story, assuming that this isn't some sort of generational curse, which I don't think it is. It popped up pretty recently. If I was in his place, I would try to look for changes that had happened. Did we recently buy anything from a thrift store? Did we recently piss off a gypsy? Did we have that ramp up? And again, either it's going to keep getting worse until one of a few things happen. One, they leave. Two, they get a spiritual advisor in there to help them, depending on their religion. If you don't believe in one, you can find one in the yellow pages. So they either leave, they get divine assistance. Those are the two good options. The bad options are they don't do either of those first two, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse until eventually there's a catastrophic ending. Murder-suicide, double murder-suicide in this case, triple murder-suicide if you include Goober, which I hope not. Like adding to the body count, I hope this doesn't happen. I mean, think about it. If there is someone walking around that's impersonating your wife, and one day you're sitting there playing video games at your computer and your wife comes at you with a pair of scissors, you're going to defend yourself. You're going to try to talk her out of it, but after the second or third time those scissors plunge into your stomach, you're going to just have a instinctual reaction to protect yourself, so you push her as hard as you can against the closet, and she ends up banging her head on the wall, and now she's bleeding out the back of her skull, and you realize that there were no scissors in her hands. You have no cuts on your body. There was this mimic confusing you until she walked into the room, and then you attacked your wife and killed her, or horribly hurt her. What's she going to say? Oh yeah, we have had this issue with the mimic recently. I'm totally fine with my husband pushing me as hard as he could into the wall. Things like that could happen. Mysterious fires breaking out, possessions. The kid gets possessed. Oh, any one of them, right? Any one of the family, but it's creepier. That's why I said the kid, because that's creepier. You wake up in the middle of the night and your kid's standing at the foot of your bed and he goes, "The Shadow Man's my new parents." You're like, what? And then the kid's like crawling around all creepy and stuff like that. You're like, come on, man, it's past your bedtime. Can't you get possessed in the middle of the day? He's all, ah! He's crawling up on the ceiling, and then he's pouring gasoline on you. And you're like, you're standing there, you're like totally awake. It's not even a sneak attack. You're like, oh, I'm just going to sit here. He covered me in gasoline, but I don't know what part 2 of this plan is. Oh, matches. Let's see where this goes. You don't even wake your wife up. He's all trying to strike the matches. They won't light. Anything could go wrong. Anything could go wrong when you're dealing with these forces of evil. And I do think that this is an evil force. I don't think all ghosts are evil by a mile. I don't think most ghosts are evil. Generally, I think most of them are just confused. But this feels like an evil, taunting spirit. The fact that it's putting the black goo on things that he likes, his computer, his television set, his money, really makes it feel targeted towards him specifically. So is it to drive him mad? Is it to get his psychic defenses down so it can possess him? I don't know. But this is a really bad story. And it will only have a bad ending unless they either move out, which is not always feasible. That's probably like your last option, but it's a lot better than being killed by your kid in the middle of the night. I don't think anyone would argue that. You're like, well, we'll take a $10,000 loss on this house, or my kid will smash in my brains with a hammer in the middle of the night with a Nito ice cube. Smash, smash. It takes forever because it's so soft. You're like, oh, this isn't so bad. Talk to a spiritual advisor. Get someone in there. Even if it's like a shaman or something like that. A mystic, a medium, anyone. The medium wouldn't be my first go-to, but it's better than nothing. The reason why I hesitated on a medium is because there's a lot of charlatans out there who are just looking for money. But my point is that this is way above their skill level. And it's okay to accept that. I 100% would consult. I don't go into any particular church. I always say that I'm Southern Baptist, but I don't even know where there's a Baptist church in my town, let alone Southern Baptist. I don't even know where there's a Protestant church in my town. But I'll tell you this. If I started experiencing these types of negative spiritual attacks, I know where the Mormon church is in town. I'm not Mormon. I'd probably go talk to them. Right? I'd be like, I'm not Mormon, but you might know more about this than I do. I am a professional paranormal investigator, but this is even a little bit out of my league. So it doesn't hurt to ask for help, and that's what these guys need to do. They need to ask for help, because this story, it's only going to get worse unless they act now. It really, really is. There's really no other way around it. Unless they can say that this item itself, this is a cursed item that came into our house recently, we'll get rid of it. Maybe the activity will stop. But the activity is already so intense that I almost feel like it probably would have already leached out of, like, let's say they bought an old chair at a garage sale or an estate sale or Goodwill. There was a spirit attached to that. At this point, the energy is so intense in this house that I'm assuming it's already left the chair. I don't think getting rid of the chair would be enough at this point. They need to get someone in, they need to get the house cleansed, or they need to leave the home, because this story will only get worse. This story right now is already on the precipice between being a paranormal story and a true crime story. Like, I'm that worried about these guys. They're right on that tipping point. And they need to make a move, a very decisive move against this evil in their home before that tipping point completely tilts towards the world of true crime. Because evil is never satisfied until it spills human blood. DeadRapperRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRapperRadio. TikTok is @DeadRapperRadio. Dead Rapper Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it today. Have a great one.